In this video, we're going to continue looking at non-homogeneous second-order differential equations, and we're going to look at a potential problem. So I encourage you to pause the video and see if you can solve this and see what happens. So let's go ahead. So we're going to focus on the complementary function first. So we'll get our auxiliary equation, m squared minus 3m plus 2 equals 0. Solving that, we get m equals 1 and m equals 2. So that suggests that our complementary function is y equals a e to the x plus b e to the 2x. So now we turn our attention to the particular integral. And the problem here is that what we are tempted to do is say, well, look, the right hand side is e to the x. So our particular integral is y equals lambda e to the x. But the problem is e to the x is already part of our complementary function. So there's no value of lambda that I can choose that will result in e to the x here, because any amount of e to the x will just disappear in here. So what do we do? How can we ever get something which, when we sub it into here, gives us an e to the x, when e to the x on its own and any multiple of that will disappear when we sub it in? The trick is, instead of using a multiple lambda of e to the x, we use a multiple lambda of x e to the x. And it's quite surprising in a way that that works, but it always will in cases where the thing that you're looking for is actually included in part of the complementary function. You just multiply by x. Have a look at how this works. It's quite satisfying to see it all come together. So dy by dx here. So we need to use product rule. Here's u, here's v. So it's u v dash plus u dash, which is just lambda v. Then we find the second derivative. And so differentiating this again using the product rule, it's u v dash plus v dash u, and then plus the derivative of this, which is just lambda e to the x. So in total, our second derivative is lambda x e to the x plus 2 lambda e to the x. So putting that all together, subbing this into the function here, we've got d2y by dx squared, so that's lambda x e to the x plus 2 lambda e to the x, minus 3 dy by dx, so minus 3 of this, so minus 3 lambda x e to the x minus 3 lambda e to the x, and then finally plus 2y, so that's plus 2 lambda x e to the x, and all of that needs to be identical with e to the x. So let's see what happens. Let's group these together, because we've got the x e to the x's and the e to the x's. So I've got lambda e to the x minus 3 lambda e to the x plus 2 lambda e to the x, and look, they just cancel. And that's the neat thing here. They will always cancel out. And what are we left with? Well, we're just left with 2 lambda e to the x minus 3 lambda e to the x. So in total, that's minus lambda e to the x needs to be the same as e to the x. And that means that lambda is minus 1. So our particular integral is y equals minus x e to the x. So this means that the solution, the general solution to this differential equation, is a complementary function a e to the x plus b e to the 2x plus our complementary function, which is minus x e to the x. And of course, if you're given some boundary conditions, you could solve that. You could find a and b. So that's the technique, basically. If the right-hand side is part of the complementary function, just multiply what you'd normally guess by x. Okay, here's one for you to try on your own. A little bit different, because it's, instead of y and x, it's h in terms of t, which makes it look harder, even though it's not really. Okay, so looking at that left-hand side for our complementary function, our auxiliary equation is m squared plus 1 equals 0. And so the solution to that is m equals plus or minus I. So we've got effectively 0 plus or minus 1i. So our real part is 0 and our imaginary part is 1. So this means our complementary function is h equals e to the 0, so that's just 1, times a cos 1t plus b sine 1t. Okay, now turning our attention to the particular integral. So what would we like to guess? We'd like to guess a general linear term for this, and then some amount of cos t and some amount of sine t. But of course, cos t and sine t are already in our complementary function, so they would just disappear in this. We'd never get a cos t. So this means our particular integral is going to have to be a general linear term, and then some amount of t cos t and some amount of t sine t. So we're going to have quite a lot of letters here. So it's going to be of the form, so general linear term is lambda plus mu t. And then let's not keep going with Greek, let's go with p and q. So let's go with plus p, but not p cos t, p t cos t plus q t sine t. Okay, there's a bit of a giant, but let's do this. So dh by dt is, well, lambda goes and we're left with mu. Here, product rule, u, v, so it's u, well, it's going to become a minus, u v dash plus v dash plus v u dash. U dash is just p, so p and then cos t. Product rule again for here, so it's u v dash, so u v dash plus u dash v, so plus q sine t. And then the second derivative, so our mu is gone. Differentiating this using the product rule, uv, so it's u v dash plus u dash v, so that's minus u dash v. This just differentiates to minus p sine t. Product rule here, so u v dash is minus q t sine t plus u dash v, so plus q cos t, and then this one just differentiates to plus q cos t. Okay, so now we can piece this together and put all of this into here. So the second derivative, is there anything that we can cancel here? Well, not really. So nothing cancel at all. We've got a q cos t and q cos t, and I've got a p sine t and a p sine t. So there's a bit there. So minus p t cos t, then I've got minus 2p sine t, then I've got minus qt sine t, and I've got plus 2q cos t. Then plus the original function, so that's h up here, so that's plus lambda plus mu t plus pt cos t plus qt sine t. And all of that needs to be identical with t minus cos t. Now, luckily, the minus pt cos t cancels with the pt cos t. The qt minus qt sine t cancels with the qt sine t. And if I look now at coefficients of, well, let's just do coefficients of t and coefficients of cos t. Coefficients of t, on the left-hand side, it's just mu. So mu simply equals 1, and we're done. Now, the coefficient of the constant is 0 on the right. So we actually have lambda here must have been 0. Coefficient of sine t, well, on the left-hand side, it's just minus 2p. So that means that p is 0. And then the coefficient of cos t is 2q, and that should be -1. So we have 2q should equal -1, and so q is equal to -1/2. So with all of that in mind, we now have our particular integral. It is h equals, 0 lambda and then mu, so that's just t. And then we have q was -1/2, and that was the coefficient of sine. So that's -1/2 t sine t. Okay, sticking those together, we have a general solution of h equals a cos t plus b sine t plus t minus 1/2 t sine t. Right, now it's time to use the boundary conditions to find a and b. Okay, giving ourselves a bit of room, let's find a and b. So we're going to find dh by dt first because we have some information about that. So that is minus a sine t plus b cos t plus 1. Now we need to do some product rule here. So we've got uv, so it's u v dash plus v dash u, so plus u dash v. So u dash is -1/2, and there's v. All right, so subbing in these values. So t equals 0, h equals 1 gives me 1 equals a cos 0 plus b sine 0, which is 0, t, which is 0, and 1/2 times 0. So, okay, a equals 1 from that. Then dh by dt equals 1. So we also have 1 equals sine 0 is 0, cos 0 is 1. So I've got a b there. I've got a 1 there. 1/2 t cos t is 0 because t is 0, and sine 0 is 0. So I've got this, and therefore b equals 0. So now I have the general solution. The general solution to this is h equals 1 cos t plus 0 sine t plus t minus 1/2 t sine t. And we're done. And that's the particular solution to this differential equation.